Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel and we're here again for another episode on my fleet of Zafira GSIs. A little recap, I bought this one a little while ago as a non-runner. It's a really high spec car, got the full leather interior, heated front seats, satellite navigation, TVs from the top, along with a lot of other ticks on the sheet, but it had a completely blown engine. It had been run lean, which we found was due to a backwards fuel filter getting blocked up, running the engine lean and melting most of the pistons. So I was on the hunt for another Z20LET turbo engine, and instead of buying one on a pallet that you don't know the condition of, or if it's just as bad as this one, I bought a complete donor car, and the plan was all the good stuff from this one onto this one to save this one. This one did have a bit of a smoking problem, which I thought was down to the turbo, so I was going to put the turbo off this one onto this one, swap the engine in, but things escalated and it turned out it was a bit deeper problems than we originally thought. This one is a pretty high mileage car. It's done nearly 170,000 miles, but it had full service history. Everything had been done all through its life and it ran absolutely perfect. It was silent, no knocks, no clonks. It ran sweet, apart from this smoking problem. So we looked a bit deeper and it turned out it was the rings that were at fault. So I dug a bit deeper and it did turn out that the piston rings have gone on the oil control ring and it's just letting oil up into the cylinders and out the exhaust. So I decided to do a full rebuild on this. I know overall the engine was really good. There's no wear in the bores, all the cylinder head, everything looked fantastic. So I decided to take it out and give it a freshen up. Luckily, it's a pretty miserable day today, so the engine is already out on the stand. I got it all down to a bottom end assembly last time and got it on the stand, so that is nice and warm indoors. So let's get the engine stripped down, see what we need, order the bits and get it rebuilt. So we are stripped down to an absolute bare block. There is nothing here apart from the cast block itself and the bolts back in their holes. The crank, the rods, the pistons, oil pump, balancer shaft, everything is out. And like I said, the bores on this are in absolutely fantastic condition. You would never imagine it's done the mileage that it's done. There's no scoring, there's no corrosion in the bores. You can even see the original machine mark that Vauxhall put in. But of course it is 15 years old, it's done nearly 170,000 miles, so we are just gonna give it a check. As the crank goes round one way, the pistons are always pushing forwards and backwards more than they push side to side. So the bores can start to become oval and also taper as well. So we've got this nifty little tool. It's like a DTI gauge, but it goes inside the bore. And as you're running up and down the bore, that will tell us whether it is true all the way around, whether it's tapered. So we can just take a few measurements, top and bottom, left and right, and that will show us if we are still true. Which, judging by all the wear, it doesn't look like it's pushed on any other side than the other, so we should be all okay. And then we just take this tool, which is a hone-in tool, and all we need to do is pretty much just give it a deglaze. We put this in the drill, it spins around, these little arms came out, and they've just got little grinding stones, really fine, and as it spins around, it pushes against the bore and just takes off any high spot and brings it a nice machined finish for the rings to sit nicely in. If we had any gorges in there, or if it was tapered, we'd have to go to the machine shop and they make a perfectly parallel hole to an exact specification, and then you have to even get oversized pistons or oversized rings to suit the new bore. But as this is in such good condition, we can just give it a deglaze and then put a new set of rings and they'll break in perfectly. So let's just give this one a double check. So I've got the vernier set to 86, which is the size of the bore. And we'll put that in and zero this there. This zeroed, 0, 0. We take it off, drops below. So we're all set up at 86 millimeters. Let's see what the bores look like. So we slot it in, and when it squeezes together, the gauge goes up. Let's see how close we are to our 86 millimeters. Just rock it till we find the highest spot, which is there, and we are pretty much spot on. At the top, pretty close to 0. Go at the bottom. Slightly more worn at the bottom. See, it's just 2.5 marks above. Around this way. You can't see, but I can. As we thought, these are all well within spec, so let's give it a bit of a deglaze. Make sure the bores are nicely oiled up. And then we've just got our springy tool. Now this is a medium one, so it's not too coarse. But we just want to give it a quick zoom in and out. So obviously if we keep going, this will make the bore bigger. And I reckon that's all it needs. Just a nice little clean up for the new rings to seat on. And here it is, all cleaned up. You can see it's just take the high edges off. There was no damage or scoring in there. See, there's little bits of shininess halfway down. That's just the texture. It's measured up fine. There's no dips there. We've got a good finish for the rings to seat on. Then on the top, I just went across with a block and a bit of sandpaper just to get any high spots off, any residue from the old head gasket, just to make sure it seats nicely. Like I say, it's only possible doing this way because there wasn't actually anything wrong with the engine. No head gasket, no overheating, so it didn't need any full machine work. So I'm happy the block is ready. Now I just need to give the rest of this grotty block a clean up and a paint up. And it'll be ready for some new parts. And a great bit of recycling. I've still got all the old fuel that we took out of the blue one. Use that to clean it up. Now we're all cleaned up, we're back in the engine room. Lee's just finished off this VW 20 valve turbo engine. It's got fully forged internals, got a nice big hybrid turbo on the back, and this is actually destined for a really cool VW Caddy van. So you may well see that going in a future episode. So we've got the black ones block all ready. I cleaned it all out, pressure washed all the inside, outside, got all the muck, all the grime off, and then blew out all the oil galleries, all the oil ways, made sure everything was spotlessly clean and dry. Painted the outside, and now we're in here ready for a full rebuild. So of course I phoned up Nevlock Performance once again, and I spoke to Jordan on the phone, and as always they had everything in stock, and it amazes me how quick these guys get their stuff out. I'm sure they have their own private jet that they parachute drop stuff down to us in the workshop, because literally the next morning I had a big box and it arrived. Jordan said he's been watching all the progress, and he even addressed it to Super On. So let's see what we've got in the Super On box. So rabbit hutch. Even the invoice is out to Super On as well. So first off, we've got a full genuine timing kit, tensioners and belt. Got a genuine GM oil filter. New genuine water pump with the metal fins. We've got a full set of standard size piston rings. 4 of them. Got the Nevlock one-piece valve stem seals to go in whichever head we decide to rebuild. Got some sealing glue for around the bottom end and the caps. Some flywheel bolts. And a full bottom end gasket set. So we've got the 2 sumps, we've got the oil filter, rear main, front main, oil pickup, clips and O-rings, got everything we've got there. And I've also got, which I already had, shells and mains for the bottom ends. These were for the red top build, but I think I'm going to go full race on that. So these are still top quality KS, but they'll now be going in the Z20LET. I've given the pistons and rods a really nice clean up too. See, they've come up looking like new, got all in the grooves where the piston rings because they were a bit carboned up, but they're all looking good. And I changed this number 3 because this was the one with the detonation in the black engine for the good piston and rod out of the blue engine. And you can see there's definitely a distinct colour difference from these are all out the black engine and then this is out the blue engine. Shows what a different regular oil change is, or even the quality of oil makes to the staining inside the engine. So we've got these rings, they're standard size. I just want to try them in the bore just before we put them on the pistons, just to make sure they're okay. But the bore's all measured up when we measured it in the shed, and they all measured up perfectly to 86. So these standard rings should fit in there fine. So what you saw me do there was measure the piston ring gap. This is what the piston rings are like, with a big gap at the top. And as they're pushed inside, they're pressed together, so they're springing out against the cylinder bore. This is just an old one here. And then you measure that gap with these feeler gauges. In the gap, all these are slightly different thicknesses, and then you know what your gap is. You saw me push down with the piston into the bore, just to make sure it's exactly square. Because if the ring's not straight, if it's at an angle like that, it's going to have a bigger gap. But all these check out, they're all well within spec, which is just what we thought. This is a new one here, and you can just see that little line is the gap. But I just went and got the old piston rings out, because we knew this was smoking because of a piston ring problem. And you can see the size of the gap on the old rings. So they'd worn so much, the gap has opened up and it's lost its springiness. So there it is compared to a new one. There's an old one. You don't need the feeler gauge to see that gap. But at the same time, you don't want them too tight. As everything heats up and expands, they can actually nip together and they have no free play, which is even worse because they wedge themselves onto the bore then. But these are all well within spec. Here's the bottom end flipped over, all cleaned up, all blown out, all the oil galleries. Every surface is all spotless. Same with the main caps, all cleaned up, both sides, all blown out. And I had the choice of the two cranks, and they're pretty much in exactly the same condition. Just the blue one had slightly less wear, but really both were perfect. So I'll just use the blue one. So I just need the shells, the rear main oil seal, the sealer, and get this cranking. Crank all in, all spins nice and freely. Got a nice bit of squidge from the sealer, so we shouldn't have any problems with that. So next is going to be getting the rods ready. That's all the piston rings all installed and staggered exactly where they should be. So now it's a scary bit, because these are so springy, you can see how much is above the piston there. So we've got to try and get them into the bore, and that's done by using a piston ring compressor. So we need to squeeze them tight and then bang the pistons down in. If we haven't got these squeezed in enough, it'll just sit on the top of the block, we'll hit it in and it'll snap a ring. But with lots of oil, it should go in pretty easily. Then we've got the new shells to go in the big ends. We can assemble it all back together. And all 4 pistons and rods in. Nearly had a schoolboy error. I didn't realise that only the conrod side has holes in the shells and the top ones for the caps are solid. Only when I got to number 3 and I'd ran out of ones with holes, so it swapped them over. And now we are all good. All 4 pistons are in, still spins over nice and freely. So next up, get the balancer shafts on, get the oil pump on, sump on, and we can get this bottom end buttoned up. Been doing a little bit of cleaning up. Here's the balancer shafts out of the black one. Was going to use the blue one, but it's pretty crudded up, whereas this one's a lot cleaner to start with. So quick clean up, and that's all ready to go on. Cleaned up all the nuts and the bolts for the sump. Got the sump all cleaned up, so we can get this back together in the next stage. That's the girdle and balancers all on. I injected all the bearings with oil, which is all running out, so I know they're nice and full. They're not going to run dry when it starts up. So last thing before the sump goes on is going to be the oil pump. So I've got the 2 oil pumps off them. That one's off the blue one, that's off the black one. So this one's done 120,000 miles, this one's done 170. So I was going to use the blue one. Normally I wouldn't worry, but these seem massively expensive to buy a new one. So the blue one's done less miles, hard to tell. I don't know if there's any way you can feeler gauge the cogs inside. We take this plate off to see whether they're still in spec. So I don't want to put a worn oil pump on. At the same time, there's no point spending 250 quid on a new oil pump if these ones are still fully serviceable. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more, see if these are in spec. And then we can put oil pump on the end with the pickup that bolts in the top. And then we've got all our sumps ready to go on. So I think that's going to wrap up this episode. I am going to declare that the bottom end is fully done. We haven't put the oil pump on just yet, and you just saw me put the sump on loosely, but that's just to stop any dust or dirt getting up in there. I didn't want to put all the gaskets on and then have to take them off again to put the oil pump and pick up on. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to see if you can spec the oil pumps to check if they are okay. If anyone knows whether there is a feeler gauge set in between the cogs that means they are serviceable, let me know and I'll strip these down and pick the best one out of these two. But I think we have got our bottom end all done. And like I said at the beginning, it wasn't too much money to get all this done, just a bit of time, but now peace of mind. I know I've got fully refreshed bottom end, all shells throughout, new rings, so it's going to be a 0 mile engine. Next up, in the next episode, we're going to have to start looking at the cylinder heads. I've got the 2 cylinder heads off the 2 cars. We've got the one off the blue one, which had all the detonation and all the problems inside, and it is savable. I've seen a lot worse than that go again, but I know this one didn't smoke and there's no valve stem seal issues. There was no oil in the exhaust, but it's just going to take a lot of time cleaning up those combustion chambers. Or we've got the head off the black one, which is originally to this block. And this one actually did have a full refresh, all the valves reground and everything about 5 years ago. But this one is definitely leaking from the exhaust valve stem seals. Now, the previous owner did fit new valve stem seals in it, but he did it when they were in situ and they still leaked. So I don't know if it's an actual valve guide issue on this one or whether it was just the valves weren't clean, so it just leaked past the new seals as well. When I took the valves out of that one, there was quite a bit of play in the valve guide, so it may be worn valve guides. Remember, this is the high mileage one, so it is a possibility. But in the next episode, I'm going to be stripping down both heads, comparing the two, checking out all the valve guides themselves, checking out all the valves. So be sure to subscribe, catch that hot action, then we can get this, and then whichever head we do get done, stick on the block and we're ready to go back in the Blue Zafira, which I am really excited to get this on the road now. So make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, but until next time, make sure you have fun.